You're listening to the Fantasy Wildcard Podcast.
Good evening, welcome to the Fantasy Wildcard Dynasty Show. I'm your host Kev. You can follow me on X at the Dynasty Mind. We've got the best two tonight. Alice just seen what I'm wearing because I had it covered up pre-show, but we have got the amazing man himself, Ali, who you can follow on X at FF Dynasty Girl. Good evening, Ali.
That is horrendous, mate. I can't believe you've just done that to me on today of all days. But to be fair, if we'd have won, I would have definitely had my Chelsea shirt on. So, yeah, I'm feeling really shit after the result. But we have got some cracking guests come on that we're excited about. So, yeah, looking forward to tonight's show. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing great, mate. I think that part of me wearing the Liverpool top is because Mags isn't here tonight. And you know that he would have been wearing it because whenever his team does win a trophy, he's repping. But that's partly why he's not here as well tonight. He's out on the lash. He's been on the sesh for a couple of days. He must have knew that it was going to happen tonight. But maybe he's celebrating the amazing guest we've got coming on very shortly. So teed it up nicely. We have got on two absolute diamonds from the UK fantasy community. These are superstars when it comes to your charity tournaments. You look near the top, you always see these names cropping up every year. I guess we can call them women of fantasy football as well. So we're going to give a warm wildcard welcome to Georgia and Poppy, who you can follow on X at GeorgiaBell ____. That's right, 3 times. And Poppy GK. Good evening, ladies. How are you doing?
Yeah,
very good.
Doing awesome. Yeah, it's our pleasure to have you on our show this evening, and we've got the perfect show to discuss with you. I had a bit of chat in the lobby pre-show, and it's going to be a really smashing show tonight. We're going to be looking at the upcoming free agent class for quarterbacks and running backs. We're going to give it a bit of a dynasty spin as well, but essentially getting your thoughts on the players and where you think they'll end up, if they'll stay, if they'll go, and how you're feeling about these players moving into the 2024 season. So we've obviously got Georgia, the Patriots fan. We've got Poppy at the Bucks fan, and we are going to be keeping it on the home field turf to begin with. We're going to go to Baker Mayfield of Tampa Bay, and over to you, Poppy. Your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I love Baker. I think everyone loves an underdog story, but I don't think anyone was quite expecting that season. Yeah, just absolutely love him. After everything he went through at Browns, just really nice for him to, I think he's found a home actually. But yeah, he's having fun, playing really good football. So hopefully he re-signs very soon.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, I'm going to say exactly the same because I'm pretty biased with that with that view. But to be honest, I was very, very doubtful of Baker when he signed at Tampa. I know a lot of the fan base was. And if you look at the odds, the preseason odds, we were actually second favourite only behind the Texans in our win totals, projected win totals. So it was supposedly supposed to be a really bad season for us. But I just think we saw much more of a grown-up, mature Baker Mayfield play with proper weapons that he's perhaps never had properly throughout his career. I know he sort of had them in with the Rams, but he wasn't there very long. And he's mature. He's just had his first child, or now having his first child. He's grown up, and I think with that, he's at the right age to really help take Tampa Bay forward. And it wasn't easy because coming after Tom Brady was never going to be an easy thing to do. But it's just been great. So the only thing I can see is Baker Mayfield re-signing. I think he wants to re-sign. I think you mentioned there, Poppy, he's really found himself a home, and it will get done. The figure that I've seen sort of more recent, I know there's talk a couple of weeks ago that he was going to get 40 million, he wanted 45 million or something ridiculous like that. But I think he's more likely going to be about 30 to 35 million. It's going to be sort of on both ways. He's going to be happy with the deal. I think the Bucks could be happy with the deal as well. So So match.
We've got
match.
extra cap space as well, so I think that's going to make it more likely that we're going to be able to bring some weapons back.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is always really nice.
We've got that familiarity. He's worked with Liam Cohen before. Them two are good friends, so I think that's going to work really well. He was bought in because the Bucks had in mind they were going to re-sign Baker. So I really can't see a world where Baker doesn't sign for Tampa and signs for somebody else. So with that, just thinking about his fantasy or the dynasty look on him, I have to say the next 2 to 3 years, I think he's locked in as a really solid quarterback too in fantasy. Keep trade cut, we've got him at quarterback 23. I think that's pretty reasonable given that he's going to be given sort of a Geno Smith contract. He was around this ranking this time last year. I think obviously with Mike Evans hopefully re-signs, I think the signs are pointing to that from today. So I really think that he's someone that you can help target. If he's your quarterback 3 on your dynasty team right now, you're going to be feeling really good about that. Probably not someone I'm going to actively go and buy unless I get a discount with him. But yeah, if he's your quarterback 3, you've got to be really, really thinking positive about that. Kev, what's your feelings on Baker? Obviously, I think he's going to re-sign, but what about for Dynasty? Have you got many shares of Baker? Because I personally don't have many shares of him, to be honest, but I think he's a useful quarterback too.
Yeah, less than 6.5 minutes before the first Mike Evans. Good
I try not to react, but when I hear his name, I perk up like a dog.
No, I love it. It's do you know what? I've always kind of been a Baker fan just from the persona, and it all started actually when I won a bit of money on him being the first overall draft pick. I don't think he was a favourite, and some intel that came through that he was going to be number 1 pick, and managed to get on at Sky Bet before obviously the odds had changed. Make sure you bet responsibly, people. But yeah, just the demeanour, the way he goes into all these different clubs, and he's going to win that starting job wherever he goes because he's got that dog in him, that competitive edge. Yeah, I was one of those guys that had him as a top 5 Dynasty QB after his rookie season when I first got into Dynasty, and yeah, he's fallen down the graces, down sort of the rankings as such. But you know what? I think if you believe he's going to be a start for 2 to 3 years, he's a great price. I think there is a world where maybe next season doesn't go to plan and he could be a 1-year deal, but I just think at his cost, you got to go for it. You're not going to get starting QBs this cheap this often. So something I really like. Come back to you, Poppy, just on about how long do you think he can be the Bucks QB? Like, what sort of spectrum is it? 1 year to 10 years? Do you think maybe 1 to 5? Is it a minimum 2-year deal? What sort of things do you think in Baker's outlook?
I think definitely for 2 years. Well, I'd like to see it anyway. I'm not sure beyond that. I'm just thinking realistically in terms of Mike. I know he's getting on a bit. I don't think he'll be here beyond 2 years. Chris Godwin. I think Chris Godwin is really underrated actually, and people don't have conversations about Chris as much as they should. I know that he had a quiet year this year. Wasn't targeted as much as he should have been. We've got Trey Palmer as well. I think it's exciting, but I can't see him being QB1 at Bucks for more than 2 years. But I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that he's can stay for as long as possible. Play into how well he played this year. Yeah, I think it's just a bit of a shame that we did lose the offensive coordinator. I know that he's worked with Liam Cohen before, but I think we just really did get going at the end of the year. So I don't know. That might take the momentum off a little bit. But I think Bucks fans, we stick with QBs for quite a long time. So I think as long as he's given it his all, it'll be fine.
Indeed, and we're going to move to another QB now who's going in a similar range in Dynasty. Slightly different story, the fact that he's coming off an injury and there's a bit of uncertainty. But yeah, we're going to come to you now, Georgia, and discuss Kirk Cousins and how you see his future.
I'm not sure because obviously it's gone all quiet after his injury. There hasn't been I haven't seen any rumors about him going anywhere. So I'm but I can probably see him staying maybe another year or so, maybe. I don't know. It depends because like I've seen rumors about Justin Jefferson as well. So I'm like, interesting. Yeah.
Maybe paid, yeah.
Yeah.
I personally think he will sign in Minnesota, but I do think I'm hearing that the free agent market is pretty hot for Kirk Cousins, which is somehow quite funny. But I think he's a decent quarterback, and I think what is he 33, 34 years old, something like that, 35 maybe.
Young guy.
Yeah, he's round about my age, so he's definitely a young guy, and I just think I would take a risk on him. If you look at his value right now, quarterback 25, I would actually prefer to pay up for Kirk Cousins than I would Baker, as much as that pains me to say. I just think that the chances are he's going to land back on Minnesota, and then you've got Justin Jefferson, DJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison. There's lots of weapons there, and I just think his ceiling is probably higher than Baker Mayfield's is. I do think there's a hot market for him. So even if he doesn't, there's rumors that the Raiders could possibly go after him. Obviously, Pittsburgh are looking for a quarterback and could dip into the veteran market. So I think it's a really interesting offseason for Kirk Cousins. You put his rough value on there in terms of rookie picks, the 203. That's something I would definitely probably pay up for if I'm a quarterback away from competing. I think he can give you fringe quarterback one numbers. So yeah, I think the injury is obviously a bit concerning, but from what I'm hearing, there's going to be quite a market for Kirk Cousins when that free agency opens. So I expect him to go back to Minnesota, and if he does, there's just so much weapons there that you just cannot fail. You know, it's just by default that he's going to be at least quarterback 15 at very worst. So, Kev, what's your feelings on Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, I didn't answer your question about Baker Mayfield, how much I've got of him. I'd say I've got a little bit of him, but I kind of got out after being burned, after being so high on him. But with Kirk Cousins, he's a guy that I've got tons of. So it really hurt my Dynasty teams last season when he was injured. I've got a lot of Aaron Rodgers as well, and a lot of those on the same team. So that was just like really tough going. I really like Kirk Cousins, the fact that this is just terrible, but I thought it was great on Quarterback, the Netflix show. I think
it was.
It really shows the chemistry they've got with him and head coach O'Connell. Him and Baker have had pretty different careers. The fact that you've had Baker sort of bouncing around and going to different teams and having to reestablish himself. Cousins has just had the two teams. He comes across as a loyal guy, someone that would take a fair market. So I think despite all the outside interest, which if he wanted to be that person, I think he could twist it a little bit and get a move elsewhere for more money in probably a worse situation. So I think he'll stay. I want him to stay because it is a great situation with, well, one of the best situations in the league, Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson. So I hope he stays. I think it'll be a short deal just based on the injury and the uncertainty. But I really like Kirk Cousins. I'm going to swing it back to Georgia for a tricky question now. And bearing in mind there's two Bucs fans on the show now.
I'm scared.
I'm going to ask you, if it was up to you, thinking about the next couple of years in fantasy, who would you rather have, Kirk Cousins or Baker Mayfield?
I think I'd rather go Baker. He's younger as well. So, I'll go with Baker.
Look at them two grinning.
I don't know, but the thing is that I don't actually know if I would go Baker above Kirk Cousins. I don't know. I think that's mostly because if there's a crap game in real life and then fantasy, it's just double the bad mood. But I don't know.
About you, Ali, you can have the casting vote then. Would you be a Baker man? Do I need to ask this?
I think it's very close. You can see by the valuation that they're both extremely close in the rankings, neck and neck. I don't know. I'm excited for the Bucs offense going forward. I really like what I'm hearing from Liam Cohen. I think he said he's going to move Chris Godwin back inside, which is his best position. Obviously finished at wide receiver 2 that year in 2019 when he was inside. So if Trey Palmer can take a next step and we maybe draft an offensive lineman in round 1, I think this offense can be just as good as it was the second half of next season. So, either or of these guys I'm going to sit on the fence.
Good stuff. So obviously we've talked about 2 QBs. That's the end of our QB part of the free agency. It's not that there's not a couple more intriguing options. Guys like Ryan Tannehill could be in the mix for a starting job again, which it's not fantastic, but if you're a starter, it's something that needs to be on your radar. But we are going to move on to running backs. It's quite an interesting market at running back. The fact that we've had to cut a few running backs off the show sheet tonight. We'll let Georgia and Poppy make the picks on those that didn't make it. So it's no pressure on us, Ali, on that one tonight. But we are going to come to the cream of the crop at running back now. And I'm going to come back to you, Georgia, on Saquon Barkley. Do you think he'll be a Saquon Barkley, or do you think he'll be looking to leave and cash in after so many bad years in such a dump?
I think he will stay. I was literally thinking about this earlier. I don't know why. I just have a feeling that he will stay. I don't know how long for, but maybe like a year, a bit more than a year. Yeah. I don't know where else he would go.
And if you're owning him, are you happy if he stays?
Probably no. No. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one.
What about you, Poppy? If you're a Saquon Barkley owner, are you wanting him to stay in New York? Plenty of touches, but at a pretty dismal offense that could be getting a new quarterback, or do you want to see him go to somebody else?
I think I'd probably want to see him go somewhere else. I don't know. I don't think that we've seen the best of him yet, which is saying something. But I don't know if he is best staying in New York or if he's best going elsewhere. I don't know. I think he seems like he wasn't very happy. So I kind of would like to see him go and try, but other people have done it and then nothing better has happened. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I don't think I'd be that happy though.
Yeah, I personally think it's a risk with any running back because you rely on the scheme for them to have plenty of touches, to be a scheme that will find them the gaps. It needs to be a good offensive line, and then it needs to be a good offense overall for them to score the touchdowns. But I just think Saquon Barkley's pretty insulated in the fact that he catches so many passes. He's so good at that. I think he's the number one name on the running back free agency list that teams will know exactly what they want to, how to use him. And I think it's going to be more like contenders that are going to be going after the likes of Saquon Barkley. Like the thoughts of Saquon Barkley on the Ravens is pretty tasty right now. And there's a few other spots as well. There's obviously a few dud ones, but I just can't see a team that's got plenty cap space that's not going to be that good going after him. So let's get him a move away from New York. In terms of the rookie picks, the 110 is probably about right. I think you're going to get 2 more really good years from Saquon Barkley if he can stay healthy. So that's probably fair price. Kev, would you be paying the 110 for Barkley if you're a contender, or is it just too much risk right now?
I think first of all, we didn't mention this with obviously the cap increasing by so much, but it's a great time to be a free agent, isn't it, when the caps increase? Because when it's usually tight purse strings, all the players know that teams have got that money, so that if that's what they're chasing, it's a great time to be a free agent. I think with Barkley, he's one of the few running backs that I think it doesn't really matter where he ends up because it's not the best situation he's in. And like you said, he's great in the pass game, he's great in the run game. Wherever he goes, he's going to be continuing to be a fantasy star. I think personally, I would like to see him move away from the Giants, just because I think with Daniel Jones there, he's more likely to run, I think, in certain situations than pass. I think you want in a pocket quarterback for the receptions that Barkley can have. Early on in his career, I think 100 receptions in a season or close to it. So, I want him to move away. I think he'll end up staying. I think the Giants will overpay with the new money that's coming. He deserves to be where he is in Dynasty, sort of that that cusp of the top 10. And you know that if he bounces back, he's going to give you a fantastic season. So yeah, really happy with. If you're owning Sacred, I don't think it's a time to panic and think that a move away is going to be a negative to him. I think he's really solid and safe in that respect. So swinging it back to you, George, on this one in terms of Saquon next season. Let's just think. There was mention there of a contending side. Purely thinking of Saquon in 2024, what would you consider a good season for his fantasy finish in 2024? Is it if he's a top 10 running back, top 5 running back? Are you happy if he's just in the running back one, seen as a top 12 finish? What would you consider a good season for Saquon next year?
I'll probably say top 10, especially if he's still with the Giants. Yeah, I'd say that.
I think that's fair. Poppy, anything different on that?
No, I think with Barkley, I don't ever tend to draft him just because of the risk of injury. But I think definitely I can't see him being top 5, but I can see him being top 10. If he can stay fit, he might be closer to the top 5. But yeah, I wouldn't say anything different.
Okay, here's a quick one for everybody. Neck and neck in the rankings. Would you rather Saquon Barkley, who could be moving on, or would you rather? I'm going for you, Kev, first. James Cook. Would you rather James Cook or Saquon Barkley?
I mean, whatever the contest is, I'm taking Saquon Barkley there. Like it could be Dynasty, it could be hot dog eating contest, bodyguard, literally anything. I'm taking Saquon over James Cook.
And you both? Would you be Saquon over James Cook? Obviously on a more stable offense and came on strong towards the second half of the season.
I think at the moment I'd probably go Barkley, but I don't know. James Cook is, I think he's a sneaky one, isn't he? But yeah, I think I would stick Barkley really.
Yeah, me too.
Full house with absolutely. I'm assuming you went for Saquon as well, then, Ali. I know you picked a running back with the same surname as you, just because you like that. But
yeah, I've never liked James Cook. Never have. Didn't when he came out, and I don't now. So.
Well, hopefully you're liking this next running back. We're going to come to Poppy now, and a guy who's been an absolute machine over his career. What do you think of happening with Derrick Henry moving forward?
I think he's definitely gone. The last game of the season looked like a goodbye. I think he was very emotional. I think he posted on Instagram afterwards, thanking Tennessee and everything like that. I don't know where he's going to end up. I have seen a lot of people wanting him at Ravens. I think that he would do better from that deal than they would personally. I don't know. I've got him actually in one of my Dynasty teams, and I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what to do with him next season. But yeah, I don't think he's staying. But I just can't work out where he is going to land. I don't know. It's a bit of a shame. He was quite iffy this season, but still, he's still very good because he's still Derrick Henry. But yeah, I just don't know moving forward whether to try to get rid of him. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think the time to get rid of him is definitely gone now. I think if you've got him, I think you've got to ride him until he drops down dead, to be honest, because his value, if it's RB32 right now, I think it's gone far too much the other way because he's not going to finish. He's going to finish well inside RB32 come next season. So even if you're getting 1 year out of him, I think that's not bad value, to be honest, at all. I'd certainly be interested in him on a contender at RB32 prices. I think the Ravens would be a good fit. I think there's quite a few other places. I think the Cowboys would be
Cowboys as well. Yeah,
would be a nice fit. Kev would love that. Even your Eagles, Kev. You've got such an old roster anyway, so why not add Derrick Henry to the mix? And if you're going for it again, it makes sense. There's quite a few places where I'd like to see Derrick Henry where at least he's going to score touchdowns. And just looking at his off-season workout videos already, he already looks like such a beast. And I just think he's going to go on for this year, perhaps he finds a nice place where he's on a contender, where certainly Tennessee was not. They were one of the worst teams, but one of the worst offensive lines. I think he was really struggling there. So I'm glad he's going to get himself a move just before he sort of hangs his cleats up. But yeah, if the price is a late second round rookie pick and you've already perhaps won the ship or you're in the final last year, then perhaps you'd be tempted to send a late second and get Derrick Henry for perhaps, if he lands on a contender and scores 8 or 9, 10 rushing touchdowns this year, perhaps he really helps you. And then you're going to get paid off for your investment. So, Kev, would you like to see him on the Cowboys?
On the Cowboys? I was going to say Eagles then. I mean, first of all, how good would that tush push be with Derrick Henry absolutely smashing into the back of Jalen Hurts? He'd be smashing his back door.
Not against Vita Vea though, eh?
Oh, definitely no. Definitely not. Not on Vea. Not on Vea, no. But I think Derrick Henry, I personally think the Ravens was the right move in season. If there was gonna sort of make that push towards winning a ship, but it's got me thinking Gus Edwards. He's probably 80% Derrick Henry, so I don't think it'd be a massive upgrade at this stage with Henry being 30 years old, Gus being a couple of years younger, and I see that backfield all being dependent on Keaton Mitchell. If he can potentially come back and be a player early on next season, you might stick with Edwards, Hill, and Keaton Mitchell, which would be terrifying for sort of fantasy players, but I think real life, that's a pretty interesting trio when all healthy. Henry's an interesting one because I've been lower than you and Mags on him, Ali, and through the season saying that I thought he'd gone early and then he obviously picked up pace and made me look a little bit daft, but actually I think we're sort of all right with it, in the sense I was probably too low, you was probably too high. I've got worries because with the Titans, he had that pretty much whatever touch he wanted, he could have. He wasn't making all the snaps. He was probably 60-70% guy, but when he was on the field, he was getting the ball. So if he moves to any other situation where he's not getting as many touches as he has previously and it's less volume, that's a big worry because he's a volume guy. He's a touchdown guy. There's a lot of risk involved. He was running back 15-16 in fantasy points per game last season. That's his worst season he's had for quite a while. So, yeah, I'd be interested to get both your thoughts really on it. Running back 15 in fantasy, will he hit that next season? Or will he fail to hit running back 15 in fantasy points per game? So we're taking out injuries, just saying when he's on the field, will he hit running back 15 in fantasy points per game? We'll come to you first on that topic.
I don't think so. I don't think he's going to be far off it because, again, even like Derrick Henry, even on a crap day, is still pretty good. But yeah, I can't see him. I can't see him being top 15.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what Poppy said. Yeah, I think the same.
What would be a good season, do you think, then, Ali?
I think a good season for Derrick Henry would be fringe RB1. I think he's not going to have a backfield to himself. I think you got to put a lot on the Tennessee offense this year. I think he was the player that got hit behind the line of scrimmage the most out of any running back, and it wasn't even close. I think he obviously wasn't efficient because they didn't have to plan for much else. They had terrible quarterback play. So they were just loading the box, making sure Henry didn't do anything. So, I'd like to see him on a contender. Here's one for everybody because back-to-back, Derrick Henry or another guy that I do quite like for Dynasty, Roschon Johnson. So, Kev, do you want to lead that one, the Bears running back?
Give me Derrick Henry.
Poppy in Georgia?
Yeah, same. I mean, yeah, especially going into next year because I'm not quite sure what Chicago are going to be doing. Yeah.
I think that's fair. The other one though, he's only 2 spots below Aaron Jones. Now, I'd definitely rather have Aaron Jones over over Derrick Henry. But yeah, Roshan Johnson, as much as I do like him, it's a risk. He could be absolutely irrelevant next year. Whereas if you're going to get one season of fringe RB1 from Derrick Henry, then yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, we're not getting to Aaron Jones again, Cos. He had a great finish to the real life fantasy season. Well, the real life season, the playoff run he had, and someone that I think we're all really, really high on. But we're going to now move to a guy that's, I don't know, he's had a good career, he's had a bad career. We don't know what you're going to get from him each year. He's an interesting chap. So, Josh Jacobs of the Las Vegas Raiders, and we're going to come to you, Poppy. What do you think about Josh Jacobs?
Yeah, Josh Jacobs is a bit of a strange one for me. I'm not really sure where he's going to end up. I'm not really sure any of the. I think he would probably like to think that he'll be high on a contender's radar, but I don't think he will be. But I don't know. I think Raiders are probably going to go into next season on a bit of a high. Obviously, it looks like they've finally got their head coach. But yeah, I don't know. Josh Jacobs is always quite an iffy one for me, really. I think it's either feast or famine, like you've mentioned. You just like, is he great? Is he bang average? I don't think you can really tell.
Yeah, I think that's spot on, to be honest, that description of Josh Jacobs, because he had that really good, he had that really good year or a couple of year run. But last year again was struggling with the injury as well. And then I honestly think the Raiders really like Zamir White, and he really showed out when he was the lead running back. So I don't think they're going to personally pay him. The news was they haven't talked about an extension or anything like that with Jacobs. So I just expect him to be in this pool of aging running backs looking for a team, and probably not going to get paid half as much as he thinks he should get paid. So again, it's one of those where if he lands on the Ravens or a contender, you really like that for fantasy for 1 year, perhaps two, but he could also end up on a team, I don't know, like the Panthers. Obviously they're trash, and he could really struggle. It could be like a Miles Sanders, because we've always got these two head-to-head, Sanders and Jacobs, as they both came out together. And yeah, they're very similar running backs. So if he was to land there, I thought Miles Sanders was going to be decent in Carolina last year. It never happened. So it is a risk. And RB15 prices for Jacobs, an early second. Yeah, I'm not really interested at that price, but Kev, you're probably going to tell me why I'm wrong.
No, you're right. I'm not a Jacobs fan. I think he's one of the running backs in free agency that, like, literally, it's downhill wherever he goes. The best he can hope for is a similar situation where he's getting a ton of volume. There's so much risk depending on where he goes. I actually think he might end up with the Chargers for some reason. I don't know why. Just something in the water with that. I think they're going to go to a run-heavy approach under Jim Harbaugh, and I think he'd be the ideal early down guy. I don't think he brings enough explosiveness in the pass game to be what he has been used like at the Raiders. I think he's someone that I'm out on currently. I'm probably not going to be back on because he's still quite high in the Dynasty rankings, sort of running back 15 range, which is too rich for me. His value is around about the 201 in rookie drafts, which I'll be honest, load me hand up. I've not done tons and tons of rookie scouting at this stage, but it's kind of the option of, do you go with Josh Jacobs or do you literally take your pick of any of the running backs? It is an underwhelming running back class, but there's going to be potentially a few that land in certain situations that could potentially be interesting. So I throw it back to you guys. Basically, would you rather have Josh Jacobs or your pick of the rookie running backs? Come to you, Poppy.
I think try it with a rookie. Why not? Like, no risk it, no biscuit. I can't really see wherever Jacobs goes. I can't really see him being incredible. And yeah, if you get a bang average rookie, I think that will probably be relatively on par with him. Here's where he absolutely just goes off this season, but it's fine.
Are you feeling the same, Georgia?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Yeah, I'll just gamble on a rookie, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's the right move, Ali. You agree?
Yeah, I love that we got Bruce Arians on the show as well. The no biscuit, no biscuit. Yeah, no, it's definitely the right answer. I was going to ask this one back to back in the rankings. Would you rather have Kev, Josh Jacobs, or Javonte Williams?
I mean, being honest, Javonte's not. He's not had a great last season, but I think coming back from a major injury, we're going to see a better version of him this season. So I'll just take the younger guy that's, where he's going to be with an offensive coach who's done pretty well with running backs for his career. So yeah, give me Javonte. But yeah, see you later, Josh Jacobs. Another guy that probably going to be saying see you later to, well, if you're a Dallas fan, is Tony Pollard. And we're going to come to you, George. Tony Pollard, is he going to stay? And is it a good or a bad thing if he does go?
I'm not sure. Like, I feel like he's been quite quiet this season, especially like with Zeke gone. I feel like he's like disappeared a little bit. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen there. I don't know if he's just going to stay like Dallas for like another year or go somewhere else. No idea.
You took away Zeke and it's just ruined him, hasn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, because I had Pollard in not last season, the season before. He like saved me so many times. So yeah, but yeah, this season he's been pretty quiet, I think.
Yes, it's certainly one of my big misses from last year. I did have Tony Pollard probably ranked far too high than I did. He just looked really good when he came onto the field, when Zeke was there to tie down the defense, and Tony Pollard came in looking explosive. And I just thought with the workload he was going to be projected to get, it was going to be a match made in heaven on that awesome Cowboys offense. So yeah, it was a big miss for me, and it just shows what can happen, because this time last year he was being ranked as a top sort of 7 dynasty running back, and now look at him, he's not even ranked. He's sort of a really low running back too. So RB22 value wise, 204 rookie pick. Again, I just think his best days are behind him. He's at that age now. How old is Tony Pollard? 26, the same as Josh Jacobs. So people aren't really interested in running backs unless you call Christian McCaffrey at that age. So I'd rather just re-roll with a rookie running back. It's really difficult to project where he's going to land, because I don't think the top contenders are going to be after him. So he's probably going to land on a middling team in a timeshare, probably with another running back. So it's a difficult one. In terms of his value, it's on the way down. So give me that 204 all day. Kev, are you in the same boat? I'm sure you are in the same boat.
Oh, maybe I've just jumped the ship. No, I think with Tony Pollard, he's an interesting guy. The fact that sort of season's ending and I'm thinking about my thoughts on players, and Tony Pollard's guy, I thought, yeah, he's had his opportunity. Zeke's gone. Everything's sort of within his realm of possibility to really kick on, and he's had a terrible season. So I had this thought process that I'm out of him, but actually I'm not quite sure. We're just going to see what the market does, I think, and see how far it drops, because if he falls into a good situation as a 1B, a second option with someone that's going to sort of do the tough work, the tough yardage, the great stuff from a real life point of view, and really setting up for Pollard to shine, I think that's appealing. He's clearly not the right fit to be a league guy and do it all as a free down guy. So it's going to be dependent on where he goes for me, which we can't say about guys like Saquon. That's just wherever he goes. Or guys like Jacobs, where I'm out wherever he goes as well. Pollard's interesting still, but at this price, it's slightly too expensive. So yeah, let's just say that he lands on the Chargers, because if I keep saying that for each one of these running backs, I might be right on one. So let's get him on the Chargers. Tony Pollard to the Chargers. But I'll come back to George on this one. Obviously, there's a slight discrepancy in the values, but I just want to know for next season, you've got Tony Pollard, who could be anywhere, or you've got Ramondre Stevenson. Who's having a better season?
Mondre. Try not to be biased, but yeah, I'll say Mondre, definitely, 100%.
What are you saying, Poppy?
Yeah, but I suppose if that's Pollard on Chargers,
It could be Pollard
is that-
anywhere.
Okay. I don't know. I think it does depend on where he lands, but I'd say Stevenson, mostly because I don't want Georgia to stop being my friend. No, but also because I Tony Pollard is too hit or miss, I think.
Yeah, Ali.
Oh yeah, I'm a big Ramondre Stevenson fan. So I'm excited to see the Patriots offense reborn again in 2024 because it's been, I'm sure Georgia would agree, it's been absolutely terrible the last few years with Mac Jones. So yeah, let's get a rookie or a veteran in there, and yeah, I'm quite excited about this offense.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I'm just saying Ramondre because I also want to keep George as a friend. So. But yeah, I jokes aside, I think you've got to pick Ramondre in that situation. I think he's slightly worth more currently, but I do find it hard for sort of Pollard to outscore him. I think Ramondre's got a lot left to give, despite being probably the same age as Pollard. I think Ramondre came out a little bit older, so he's a little bit older than you expect, but there's not a lot of tread on those tires. So give me Ramondre, and yeah, let's move on to the next guy who's also not got a ton of tread on his tires, and his value is completely gone. So I'm going to come back to you, Georgia, and we let you pick this guy to speak about. Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously like Pacheco has like taken over as RB1. And it's just interesting to see like what would happen next with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Because I remember he was like quite good like a couple of years ago, but now he's kind of disappeared. Because I know he got injured, didn't he? Like I don't know how long ago back, but yeah, I know like after that injury, and then they drafted Pacheco. It feels like Pacheco's just taken over. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see where he goes.
Do you think he definitely goes?
If he goes, I don't know. No idea.
I think he's going to go. I think that they've had enough of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't think they've any plans to use him. I think they really regret picking him with, what was it, the last pick of round 1 of that draft class. It was a pretty terrible pick. And Pacheco comes in, what was he, 7th round, I remember? Well, he was really late on, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He comes in and he looked really good. So yeah, I'm actually quite interested in CEH. Although I do have him in a couple of places where I took him over Jonathan Taylor, which definitely do not regret. But RB68 is just, yeah, that's quite hilarious. So I think
Hilarious.
it's probably fair. It's probably fair.
You can't say anything. You said Steak-one, so you said Steak-one.
I've rubbed off on him. We're just as bad.
We did have a title of one of our shows, didn't we? Clyde Edwards Hilarious was one.
We did.
Yeah, so I mean, it says late 3rd round rookie pick is his value, but I reckon you can get away with chucking a 4th out there and getting Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and people will just be happy to throw another dart throw rather than have him on their roster. And I think if perhaps we get him on the Chargers, Kev, what about that? And then he's the next Austin Eckler. Probably not going to happen, but yeah, I'll throw a 4th round pick to get Edwards-Helaire in one place, just in case he lands on a good spot. And he could be, if he's a 3rd down back on a really good offense, he could be really useful. So, Kev, what's your thoughts on CEH?
I mean, I'll tell the story again that before the draft, when he got taken, surprisingly, I was completely fading him. Mm-hmm. And then he got that 1st round draft capital, and I bottled it, if I'm honest. I moved him up the rankings. I put him right there with Jonathan Taylor. And lo and behold, in time, if I'd have just had a little bit more steel about myself, it looked a great shout. So I do think the market's gone completely the other way around. I'm going to pose this potential scenario. Clyde Edwards-Helaire reuniting with his college QB, Joe Burrow, in Cincinnati. Joe Mixon's, they're done with Joe Mixon. They're going to go with Edwards-Helaire and Chase Brown as their duo. If that happens, Poppy, what are you saying?
I still don't think that he'll be an incredible running back, but I do. That's actually quite interesting. I think that would be enticing to have him maybe throw a third round, but nothing. I still don't think higher than that. But I think that's probably actually one of the best landing spots that you've. I don't think I've seen anyone else suggesting that, but maybe you're onto something there.
He likes to follow the dots, Kev.
Smart guy. George, would that get you?
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting one as well. It's like something to think about. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Definitely. Any running back that catches passes and can catch it well, which he obviously can. That was his only good thing about him, basically. Then yeah, I quite like people like that, running backs like that in Dynasty. So I'll keep them at the back of my roster just in case.
Yeah, could be buying back into Edwards-Helaire, but this next guy, I don't think I'll be buying back in because I've already got a lot of him. We've got DeAndre Swift. We'll come to you, Poppy. How are you feeling about Swift moving forward?
Yeah, I don't think that he's going to go anywhere. I don't know, Kev, if that's going to make you feel happy or make you feel a bit sad. I can't see, just looking at the teams that need a running back, I'm not sure that they're teams that will appeal to him. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I do really like Swift, but I can't see him going anywhere personally. I don't know if even going anywhere would actually improve his game. I can't see him doing anywhere better.
I think I completely agree. I agree. He's not going to do any better on another team. Personally, that's my feeling. I think his best value is if he stays there and scores touchdowns for the Eagles. I just don't like him because Rashad Penny was my guy, and I put a lot of stock into Rashad Penny last off season, and it didn't work out for me. So I also think the Kenny game was probably a better running back as well. So Kev, I'm going to throw it to you actually because you're the Eagles guy. What do you think Swift is going to do? And at 204 prices, RB18, are you in? Pretend you don't have all the shares that you do. Are you interested?
See, like I'm a Swift fan. I was a Swift fan when he was in Detroit. Obviously, he's left Detroit. Gibbs has come in and looked completely different to what Swift did in Detroit. Obviously, a big Gibbs fan as well. That should be a little bit of a sign there. I'd say the Eagles season went a lot like Swift's season. So when Swift was performing on fire, the Eagles were doing great. I say they're doing great. They were winning games. We were never doing great. We had a bad season all around, but it's like, how many chances can you give Swift? He's had two different teams now. Don't think the Eagles was the most amazing fit because of obviously Hurts getting all touchdowns and the split backfield, etc. I just really struggled to see where he goes. So it's going to have to be the perfect landing spot as a 1B, a little bit like Tony Pollard, a 1B in a high-paced, high-powered offense. Maybe if he goes to Dallas, that could work there. But
would you still be a Swift fan after that, though? That's the question.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? It's a definite no, but it is a difficult one. I'd actually take Pollard over Swift right now. So that's where I'm at. Come to you, Georgia. Would you rather have Pollard or Swift?
Or Ramondre?
Ramondre.
Obviously, Ramondre. I don't know. That's a tough one. I'll probably say Swift. I don't know. Just vibes.
What about you, Poppy?
I think Swift, but again, though, it does depend where he goes. I can't see him going to Cowboys, but maybe he will. But again, I still think, as much as I do like Swift, I think that he thinks that he deserves more money than he actually does. But I think that's running backs overall. Actually, that might be a controversial thing that I've just said, but yeah,
Not at all.
About you, Ali? You take it. You're gonna 3-1 me here.
I am, yeah. Sorry, mate. I'm definitely Team Swift. Pollard has burned me last year, and I can't get that out of my head. I think that Swift is the more talented running back. So if he stays, which I think is, I don't know, you probably know more than me. I'd say maybe it's a bit more than 50-50. Then, yeah, I'd rather have him on the Eagles than take a risk on where Tony Pollard ends up.
Yeah, there's only room for one Swift in my heart, isn't there, Taylor? But yeah, that brings us to the end of the discussion on free agent QBs and running backs. We're now going to come on to the main event, the fantasy wildcard selection. So we're getting our guests to pick their fantasy wildcard, the player that they believe will improve their dynasty value the most next season. We're going to jump straight in. We're going to come to Poppy's pick. First of all, fantasy wildcard selection. She's smiling already. Ali's smiling. That can probably lead you to the team it's going to be. Who we got?
I've got Trey Palmer. I think that Trey Palmer is really exciting. I think that obviously Baker re-signing, I think that they have a very good connection. I know that Trey Palmer had a few fumbles and some quite bad ones in the end in terms of results, but I don't know. I think that his ceiling is quite high. And I just think that the fact that he played in the playoffs games and played that well in his rookie year, I just think that he's a very, very good player. And I'm glad that other teams let him fall to us, actually. I think that we got a very good player there.
We certainly did. And his touchdown against the Eagles was beautiful. Just shows what his ability is, and is exciting. He's a guy, when you get the ball in his hands, he's absolutely rapid. So I hope that the new offensive coordinator does get the ball into Palmer's hands, because he is a really dangerous player. And with Chris Godwin moving back into the slot, hopefully that means Palmer can go outside, use his speed as that deep threat, and score some touchdowns with Baker. I really do think this offense, I mean, I'm not biased whatsoever, but it can be really, really exciting next year. And just as that wide receiver 3, to have someone with the talent of Trey Palmer is going to be really exciting. So yeah, I really love the pick. I think his value's low right now. I think because he flashed, but he didn't do it consistently, so his value in Dynasty is low. But this time, in 12 months' time, I do think you're going to get a nice bump in value with that consistency with Baker Mayfield. So, yeah, looking for that year 2 leap from Palmer. So, yeah, I think it's a great pick. Kev?
Thank you.
Yeah, I think with a fantasy wildcard selection, I think one way you can sort of win or gain the most is by picking a player low down that has a nice bump. So I think we're not going to suggest Trey Palmer's going to be a top 20 wide receiver, but let's just say...
I thought we were.
I mean, I think what you're kind of hoping for is maybe there's a small injury to, I don't know, K. Dotton, someone we don't really care about too much fantasy, and then it opens up into a true freeway sort of committee at wide receiver to take those snaps. And if he makes that big jump to say top 36, that's going to be a really good shout with the fantasy wildcard pick. So yeah, he's definitely shown some explosiveness. Showed it in the playoffs as well, begrudgingly. But
I will just say as well that this could be based off. Say Chris Godwin doesn't have a great season. His contract is at an end after 2024 season. So if people see Trey Palmer having a good season, Chris Godwin, perhaps they're moving on from him. If he can be the wide receiver 2, his value is automatically going to shoot up. So that's what I think is a great pick.
I'm not going to say Mike Evans won't re-sign. I think he will.
Okay.
You don't want to see me if he doesn't. To be perfectly honest. Yeah. No, it will not be a good day in this house.
Ali, you'll be getting rid of your helmet, won't you, as well?
Just don't. Yep.
We'll keep the vibes happy. We're going to come to Georgia's selection for her fantasy wildcard, and this is the guy that gets my seal of approval.
So mine is Anthony Richardson. Obviously, he got injured at the beginning-ish of last season, and I just think it'd be interesting to see him when he's fully healed and has a hopefully healthy season, with Jonathan Taylor, Josh Downs. I can't remember the other guy's name.
Super Michael Pittman.
Yeah, that's it. Gone out my brain. But yeah, it's just interesting to see.
Huge Anthony Richardson fan. I think range of outcomes, if he has the perfect season, which needs a lot of luck for this, he could be the Dynasty QB1 next off season. It's going to take a lot because there's some great guys ahead of him, but just with that rushing upside and touchdown wise, if you just stretch out the few games he played, if he's getting you 12, 14 rushing touchdowns and just performs pretty solid as a passer, you're talking silly numbers. So it's a great shot. I think he's higher up in the rankings, so there's not as much wiggle. But if he hits his full complement of what he can achieve, yeah, you could have a shout with that fantasy wildcard section as well. 2 great picks from both yourself, Georgia, and Poppy. Ali, I'll let you have last word on Anthony Richardson because I know you're itching to give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I absolutely love the pick. I think it would probably be in a short list of my wildcard picks from this year, so I really do like it. My hot take is that he's going to finish in the top 4 quarterbacks in the 2024 season. He's going to rebound and he's going to be absolutely amazing. So yeah, I totally agree. He's quarterback 7, 8, whatever in the rankings at the minute, but you hit the nail on the head. He could easily be a top 3 quarterback this time next off season. So yeah, I think there's a pretty good chance that it could happen, put it that way.
Yeah, both smashed it then. So yeah, on tonight's show, got to be nice, haven't you? Got to be nice. Despite the stick I've been given. So yeah, on tonight's show, we've previewed the free agents at quarterback and running back. We've had 2 amazing guests in Georgia and Poppy. So before you go, please remind the audience where they can find you and anything that you'd like to share.
I don't know. Yeah, just my Twitter handle, really.
Don't you mean X, Georgia?
X.
I still can't.
Before Elon gets me.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
And I was just going to say, especially me and Georgia, if there's any women that are watching that just want to get more involved in the community and also in fantasy in general, to just message one of us. We're both now doing a lot of stuff with women in fantasy football, which is really great. It's a really welcoming community, and I know that it might be intimidating, but yeah, I've made lots of lovely friends.
Indeed, I'd echo that. Women in fantasy football, it's fantastic to see the growth that's happened. Obviously, we've got Hannah from our fantasy wildcard squad as such that's part of that, and you two as well representing the UK. I think you're inspirational in that respect. I'll come on to the full speech in a moment. We're going to let Ali have his final thoughts on tonight's show and anything you'd like to share first.
Yeah, cheers, Kev. I can't follow any of your speeches, so I just want to thank you both for coming on. 2 awesome UK ladies in our industry, flying the flag. You're both really, really good fantasy players. So it's great for you to both come on to chat to us tonight. Yeah, just thanks for spending your time with me and Kev. Kev still can't believe you're wearing that Liverpool shirt, but
I'm so sorry.
Poppy, have a great time away. And yeah, go Bucks.
can't believe you just said go Bucks. You've ruined it. I'll have to try and edit that out.
I'm hoping to watch the game against Liverpool on Wednesday, but I don't think we're going to win. So yeah.
Exciting stuff indeed. If you do win, I won't be on X for a few days itself. But, I think well said then, Ali. Just completely agree. The fact that you're so inspirational. You're great fantasy players. Like, it's not a joke when I say you're near the top of the leaderboards. You are. Every league I've seen you in, every league I'm part of, every sort of tournament, you're always right up there. And I think that's just a credit to how amazing you are as fantasy players. Also got the pleasure of meeting you both in person at the UK FFC last year. Quick plug for that. Like, that's happening 13th of July this year. Make sure you come along. It's a great chance to meet the community and yeah, I think it's a fantastic day. You get to know people on a more personal level, and it helps grow sort of friendships and more banter as well in your leagues. If you know someone, you can give a bit of stick, and you know it's all right because yeah, I can confirm that both George and Poppy are not AI generated. They are.
That's what he wants you to believe.
Indeed. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to follow us and subscribe to us on X and YouTube at Fantasy Wildcard and at Wildcard Dynasty. We drop our shows every Wednesday of the off season. So thank you once again. Have a great evening, and we'll see you again very soon.
When you have the wild card, you have the power to change the game.